Shalom. All praise to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. We well. Peace and salutation, brother of elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. All right, back with another article here from the Zero Hedge. And it says, Canada moves to make asset freezing under Emergencies Act permanent. Okay. So they're talking about using the banks to freeze customers' assets and money and different things like that, as a reaction to this blockade. All right, and also I'm gonna put a video in here too. But it says Canada has moved to make the asset freezing part of its Emergencies Act, which was used to target supporters of the Freedom Convoy protest, a permanent fixture. And it says, wow, who saw that one coming? In order to stop what the Trudeau regime referred to as illegal blockades, the government threatened to freeze the bank accounts of demonstrators and anyone who donated money to them. Under the Emergencies Act, banks are required to freeze accounts without a court order, while all crowdfunding platforms and payment providers are mandated to provide information to FinTrack, the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada. The Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, announced that many of the measures imposed temporarily, air quotes, to deal with protesters after they had been suitably demonized as violent extremists will now become permanent. So these temporary measures are now becoming permanent. Check this out. It says, Trudeau's deputy Chrystia Freeland, who is also a director of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum, says she plans to make her emergency powers permanent. Okay, you see, she says she's a director of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum. Okay, Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay, matter of fact, let's play this here.
In terms of the financial instruments which our government is using right now to act against these illegal blockades and illegal occupation, we reviewed very, very carefully the tools at the disposal of the federal government. And we used all the tools that we had prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act, and we determined that we needed some additional tools. Now, some of those tools, we will be putting forward measures to put those tools permanently in place. The authorities of FinTrack, I believe, do need to be expanded to cover crowdsourcing platforms and payment platform and their payment providers. So that is something that we need to do, and we will do, and that needs to be in place permanently. Some of these other tools, like the sharing of information between law enforcement and financial services, and the requirement of financial services to be reviewing their accounts proactively, and the immunity from prosecution that we have provided to them in doing this. These are extraordinary measures that we absolutely believe are necessary in the current circumstances, that are having an impact, and let me also point out, having a peaceful impact. And the other aspect of the financial tools that I would point to as being really effective and important is being clear that insurance on trucks that participate in these illegal occupations and blockades will be suspended. So we didn't have those tools. I don't believe that those tools should be part of the toolbox of a government in ordinary times, but they are necessary in these extraordinary circumstances, and they are having a very clear impact.
So you see, they, moving forward with are trying to make that permanent. Okay, that's another way of taking away the rights of the people too. Okay, to right to peacefully protest or peacefully gather, or they want their rights. It says we use all the tools that we had prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act, and we determined we needed some additional tools. Some of those tools we will be putting forward. We will be putting forward measures to put those tools permanently in place. See, that's the thing. They're trying to work on a permanent solution. The authorities of FinTrack, I believe, do need to be expanded to cover crowdsourcing platforms. Okay, so those who donate to them, they want to cover that too. It says, this is a quote from Ronald Reagan: "Nothing lasts longer than a temporary government program." Man, it's funny because even Social Security was a temporary program too. All right, that's just to give you an example of the trueness of that statement. All right. But it says, meanwhile, as we previously highlighted, such measures are likely to exclude protected classes, basically anyone who isn't a native Canadian or white, with groups such as immigrants and refugees enjoying an exemption. Okay, and that's it on that article there. But stay tuned. I'm gonna throw in a video here too. All right.
As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order.
The Canadian government is cracking down on financial supporters of the illegal blockade that ended Tuesday, as they invoke the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canadian history. But the question is, whose accounts can the government freeze? City News obtained the leaked document detailing the convoy donors who gave through Give, Send, Go, and found that nearly 40% of donations came from Canada, as visualized on this map. Extremism researcher Amarnath Amarasingham did the math and tweeted that Canadians donated a total of $4.31 million USD. So if you are one of the Canadians who donated, should you expect your bank accounts to be frozen today? An emailed comment from the Canadian Bankers Association says the required measures will be diligently implemented by financial service providers, but they don't expect them to impact the vast majority of customers. They also did not define what diligently implemented means. Canada's Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, also announced that order covers both personal and corporate accounts. But the Canadian Bankers Association said that we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. In Edmonton, Sarah Chu, City News.
All right, so you got a little more information as far as, like the actual like news article, thing on it. So I'm gonna grab some scriptures here. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And that's an unrighteous decree to freeze your bank account or assets based on the blockade, you know what I'm saying, or that convoy. All right. To turn aside the needy from judgment and take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay, they're literally taking away the rights from the poor. All right, which is the whole reason for the blockade, the whole reason for these, these protests and the things that these measures in which they're going through. Okay, because they're trying to fight for their rights. All right, that's an unrighteous decree for what they're doing. Let's see. This is Psalm chapter 94, verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? All right, the throne of iniquity. That's them. They are the throne of iniquity. Okay, they have that power, and through that, they're framing mischief by law. Okay, they're writing into law or trying to make permanent these unrighteous decrees. All right. But this is why for us, we can't trust in them. Okay. It's Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down to Egypt, the house of bondage, okay, where we are now, and have not asked at my mouth. Okay, you're trusting, as other scriptures say, you're trusting oppression. You're trusting in these unrighteous decrees. You're trusting in Esau, Edom. You're trusting in their wickedness. Okay, they are not for your good. To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Like I said, they're trusting in oppression. Verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Okay, so this is how we know at the end of it all, you trust in this system, you're gonna be ashamed. Okay, it's gonna be into you. All right, so you can get as much money, Federal Reserve knows that you possibly can. You can you can store up as much food as you possibly can. You can doomsday prep. You can do all that. But at the end of the day, if you're not in the covering under Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, you are through. All right? That's all. That's everyone. Okay? All right. But this is just a quick lesson. I want to bring out that article in that video. So call law Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Makakwadash. Hope you edified. Shalom.